Hi, welcome back channel, TrainStation2. Alright, good start to the fifth competition. First place so far. We found a missing legendary as well. Really happy with that, of course. Then we are left with two more missing legendary in Region 8 before we complete the full collection of trains. Alright, so this is the EP head start that I prepared beforehand. I'm going to collect all of them and let's see later on what would be our ranking in terms of the competition chart. So as usual, at the start itself, we'll be packed with items in the warehouse, and it's sometimes very difficult to maneuver your trains out, especially we have to pack with stuff as well. So let's see how we move things around. So let's dispatch orders, and now at this stage itself, we are at third place. So it seems like we have very strong competitors as well. So this is the one and only chance I have, and really surprised to see this. Alright, so we are left with two more missing legendaries to go before we collect the full collection. But of course here, we take opportunity to upgrade some trains as well, because it's really important sometimes. Not only a good fleet size, but in terms of capacity size is equally important. Make sure you upgrade your warehouse as well. As I always mention, warehouse follow wherever region you go, but whereas the train stops at the current region. So make sure you do that using the 5 building technique. You heard this multiple times, apologies for that, but I'm going to repeat it for the sake of new people who are watching this video. 5 buildings technique is basically laying out 5 buildings of low levels 1 to 5, and then with that you have constantly 4 building requests. You can bin away things you can't do because it costs a lot of blue maps. Then the new building request will be generated in the 5th building, hence the 5 building technique. So with that, they increase the population, and the required population you can upgrade your warehouse. Alright, so that's in short in that. In terms of gem spending, make sure you build your factories to the brim, i.e. the maximum capacity your factory could run in those additional slots before you start spending gems on any other thing. Really important, your warehouse is something you will have been limited by the space. Your executional warehousing space would be derived from the core factories. So basically you have 7 core factories, all has been fully upgraded. While we could try our best to fit in more stuff, but sometimes the warehouse is really full. So make sure you do that, as well as the event factory. You just got to make sure you have 2 additional slots for that. So that's cost you about 110 gems each time. Any other gems that you have, do not spend them, save them up, make sure you can upgrade your factories to the brim. Alright, so that's generally how I believe you should be spending your gems. Never throw gems away into getting trains, because it's totally not worth it. It's just a chance. Alright, so here we are trying to struggle to make sure we get all the deliveries right. So we always got a plan, like for example, you know what's coming about, and you just got to make sure you have those items before you send your trains out for further dispatches. Alright, so with that, then you are prepared for when your trains are back, you have the items to be delivered. So that's generally the rule of thumb in terms of playing Train Station 2. It's about resource prioritization in a way. So make sure you do all this planning and move all this stuff and have those ready, and you're ready to set and dispatches out again. So every time watch the video, or basically claim more parts by watching a video, or sometimes you really need those parts urgently. You could actually spend gold in buying those big boxes, but I seldom do that because gold is really important commodity that you should cherish. You should get more of the gold from the event. Normally there's limited of 10 packs of 5,008 per pack, and that's only when you have surplus event coins after you've claimed your legendary that costs 1,000 event coins. So this is part and parcel of the game, because some people, even after playing 6 competition, they can't even claim that legendary train. So you really have to plan well by doing your best, by getting top 3 in the first 3 competition. If you don't do that, it's really difficult to get the 1000 event coins at all. So it's not that every time, every event, I'm able to do that. At the start, when I first started, I don't even have an event train. So I would say that it's really tough. It's a lot of a learning process, a lot of things that are done wrong, and I want to share so that eventually you don't do the wrong stuff, right? So the other thing that I wrote wrong was having bottlenecks, which I very shared before in much earlier in the other videos. Bottleneck trains, you have to focus on them. If what I mean by bottleneck trains are those that you have the train as very unique, one and only one, like rare steam in your current region. So for that train, you make sure you go to fully upgrade it, so that eventually you're being called upon using triple restriction, the current region you are in, rare and steam, and at least you can have a 20 capacity or more as compared to just a 6 capacity train, right? So this is something you're going to bear in mind, otherwise you feel very torturous in trying to finish that job. But of course, if you can bin away that job, by all means. Otherwise, you just make sure you have that bottleneck train fully upgraded. So what we're trying to do really right now is basically to have all the items ready as usual, and then before we send the trains out. So you know, a lot of things are interrelated in terms of this item may be a subcomponent of another. So make sure you know all this stuff and prepare in advance, because without all these items, you can't basically move on. Of course, there are really fast pre-building building items like iron powder, probably 3 minutes. That's okay, you can afford it. But things sometimes like copper take half an hour, and some other items may take an hour to produce. So if you're stuck with those and you don't have any other jobs to do, you'll be in deep trouble. So normally what I did is I make sure I have jobs to do, and I keep building for the other items. So when the trains are back, and even though they are not ready, I still have available jobs to do by having the items ready, right? So things are like that, and you really have to move very patiently by knowing the number of capacity trains or high capacity trains are coming back, and whether you should be collecting that items. For example, 80 capacity train versus a 40 capacity train, which train should you collect the goods from? Depends on the number of spaces you have in a warehouse. Okay, so I would collect the 40 and then send out the train for dispatch of 80, so I can free up space by saving 40 space. So you get what I mean? When it comes in, you have 40 item in, and you send an 80 item out, you have negative 40. So that creates a space so that you can intake the next big capacity train of 80 coming in. So this is generally how you work. So imagine you collect the 80 in and you can't move, you'll be totally stuck. Alright, so this is something about planning, and you know, a lot of experience coming from the errors that you make. So make sure you learn from those and don't repeat it again. So sometimes you really have to check before you start collecting. If you have a big warehouse, then of course and all this are not something you're gonna have to be worried about, but not myself. Alright, so thank you for watching. Wish you good luck in this 5th competition. Goodbye.